training now. I've been at Middlewood Road, Wednesday's training ground with Theo. In the tournament.
Pompey sin-binned after 20 seconds.
Swearing?
20 seconds he lasted. I says to somebody as he's walking on, does he know what rules about swearing? Nobody said out and they were gone.
Has it been a good turnout?
Yeah, I think maybe less than last week. Yeah. I think Billy's gone with Paul Kay because he wants an armoured vehicle, doesn't he, after Wednesday night?
I've been talking to a ref today, and I don't. In fact, he said make sure that you mention me, but I didn't know his name. His lad's been playing at Middlewood in this under-7s tournament, and I was telling him about it, about what's happened, and he says he can't do that. He says if he's waved him on, he can't book him for coming on just because player won't leave pitch.
Well, he's got very confusing. One bit what I haven't mentioned is apparently the referee said to Goody it's either you or him who's getting booked or something. So I'm not bewildered by it. I thought it's one of the most bizarrest things I've ever seen.
I think the referee said to me it's either you or Don or you or Paul or you or James Terry. Then I said, well, book him. I don't want 12 quid.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, poor lads had to do an extra 12 hours with Viennese Wales this week to pay it fine.
I hope they don't put 5p on a box of Wales to help him. I hope that.
I'd be like, you know, if you order some Viennese Wales and it says charity donation, do you want to contribute one penny towards Billy Taylor's 12 quid fine in one of them situations? But he's done quite well on social media. He's got his TikTok. He's got 30,000 views and a lot of people commenting.
Oh, Billy has.
Danny Spate and Paul Kit. Well, Danny Spate's only appeared ever once on videos in a speaking capacity. He's had 200,000 views on Twitter.
Wow, what did Danny say on?
Well, he didn't say anything. Oh, but Paul Kay did. Can we have your keys, mate?
Oh, yeah, our lass has been locked out.
So Danny Spate, not like the limelight, but he's our biggest Twitter success story.
You'll have to out with Danny Spate. You'll have to do it in black and white because it's like pre-audio or pre-talking on TV. Like,
well, he don't I don't think he don't actually speak on the clip.
He's like Charlie Chaplin or before there any talking. Harold Lloyd used to be a bit of a...
So last week we were talking about comedy shows. I mean, 2 shows. Well, I can think of one I was going to mention. Birds of a Feather's another one I like, but I wasn't going to get into that. I was going to get into probably good football stories. So, have you ever had a player in your boot?
In my boot?
Yeah, on a way. I mean, you've been admitted to a driving offence, just bear in mind.
I haven't, but I've had the players been playing in Footwell. We, oh gosh, how will it have been? We played in Sheffield Senior Cup Sunday morning. I played with a team in Wombwell called Countrymen, good side Countrymen, and we played away at Worksop, just down from Worksop Town's ground. It's like as you're driving up bypass, there's a pitch on your left hand side as you go up towards Worksop Town's ground, and we played there, and it was one of the most bonkers games I've ever played in. They absolutely battered us, footballed us to death, and we won 9-0. We had 9 shots and scored 9 goals. They had 900 shots and didn't score. And after, I think it might have put us in quarter-finals or quite latter stages at Senior Cup. And we all went in clubhouse after. And my cousin, Rob Young, I mean, back in them days, I didn't even think seat belts were law. I don't think it was that long ago. So a few would have set off back, and my cousin, Rob, he set off back. And one of the other lads, Ian Jowsey, bless him, he's no longer with us. He passed away 18 months ago, Jazz, one of my mates. And Rob drove home with Jazz's keys in car. So obviously Jazz has got 4 kids in his car, 4 lads in his car. Rob's same. So we ended up, a kid called, I think, Crusher Pete Cross or what, secretary. We all ended up getting in his car, and we were like 6 in back. There might have probably been somebody in boot, but I remember there was somebody in Footwell at car. So there was somebody on passenger seat, somebody in Footwell, laid out across each other up back. There must have been 10 of us in this car driving back from Worksop. And then when we got back to Countryman, Rob had to bring take Jazz back to Worksop to get his car and drive home. So that's probably the closest or only one I can remember.
Well, one I've got is it was a Northern Premier League game about 13 years ago. Farsley sells it at Woodley Sports. So usually I used to go with Simeon Bambrook too, you might remember from Emily. We used to go with him. So this week he was having his car serviced at the other side of Leeds. Because Simeon lived in Garforth, where obviously I live. And he says, oh, a bit of a change of plan this week. I'm alright taking you home. Oh no, sorry, we were gonna go in his car from this car place, but there'd been a change in plan. But he says, I can't get you there. We can't get you there because I'm going with so and so. But don't worry, you can get home. So I had to arrange for my dad to take me to Farsley, which might sound a short journey, but it's not. It's not an easy place to get to from Garforth. You're talking half an hour, 40 minutes, even though because you're going across Leeds. Because to get to Farsley from Garforth, you got to go through Leeds City Centre. Oh, that's one of the ways. Anyway, so I went with Steve Nicholson, who you might remember. Who's still involved with Emily. Ryan Serrant, Wes Milnes, and there might have been someone else in the car. Anyway, we got to Woodley Sports. So then I said, well, what are we doing on the way home, Simeon? Because there's 5 in your car. He said, oh, don't worry, sorting it. So I just assumed that somebody weren't going back with them. But Simeon wanted the driver. Anyway, comes to end the game. Gareth Grant, striker, he got late winner. Playoff charge, still going. Anyway, I said, so what's happening? So we've had a drink and everything. All I'm bothered about is how I'm actually going to get home. So comes to we're walking to cars, and I think Steve Nicholson had gone. So I'm like, what we're doing here? He says, oh no, you come with us. Anyway, get to the car, and there was Simeon, driver, another passenger, and Antonio Bacora, who was a goalkeeper from Hull. He played for North Ferriby. David Briggs. So I'm looking, there's 2 foot car. So David Briggs, do you remember him? Played for Ossett Town, midfield. He played for Emswick a few years ago. Packed in probably 6 years ago. David Briggs goes, oh, don't worry, James, I've took one for the team. I says, what do you mean? Anyway, next thing you know, it was a longer car than this. It's an estate car. Yeah. Anyway, next thing you know, he's in boots. I mean, he had a lot of space, I'll give him that. And it sounds like he's done it before. So he got in boots. And apparently on the way there, driver had said, we've got James on the way back, somebody needs to go in boots, and apparently he put his hand straight up. Don't worry, I'll go in. And I always remember when we were going over Saddleworth Moor, you can hear it snoring. And
what in boots?
Yeah, and Simeon shouted, someone chucking the tranquilizers.
Well, you've just done that, said that story there. A little bit of good news here, because this ground is notorious for Hazard to get lost. He has no idea. He just don't comprehend that there's a difference between Stocksbridge and Oughtibridge. So it's a standing joke. Whenever we go to one of them grounds, he goes to it wrong. And Wednesday night he couldn't play. Today we're at Oughtibridge, and he's had under sixes at Middlewood this morning. So when we finished, I've said to him, you know who we're playing today? He went, I don't know where it. I says, it's half a mile from here. It's Oughtibridge, and as you've just been telling that story, he's just pulled behind me.
Well, he's behind us as a Tate.
Yeah, so at least now, as a Tate.
Yeah, but why don't we? Could we? I know it would delay us for a few minutes, but could we throw him off scent?
No, because he's
turn left for Stocksbridge.
No, because if I did that, this is where he usually gets lost.
Oh, is he coming beside him?
No. He hasn't seen me.
Hang on, I thought you were going inside of us.
He's just flashed me now. But this is where he gets lost, because he says you either go straight across or turn right, which he is right.
Are we? You know this roundabout, when I came down it the other day for Stocksbridge, I went into right hand lane. Are we alright here then?
Yeah, because we were going up Stocksbridge bypass.
Oh, you're not going that way?
No,
sorry, I thought we were going that way.
Well, we could go that way actually. You can go to Oughtibridge that way. But this is quick.
So another one, I think you've heard this story before, but I've never told it on camera. Playing away at Torquay.
Is this with Goldfish?
Yeah, we won 1-0. And obviously this is Farsley, we were at bottom at Chuffing League, shouldn't even really be in conference. We beat them, they were going absolutely balmy. Paul Buckle, who were manager that year at Torquay, they got to playoff final and lost to Exeter, they finally got back in Football League that year. Anyway, they lost in the playoff semi-final. I think Exeter beat Cambridge in the final. Anyway, we won. But in the conference, you very rarely got food. The clubs didn't have to put food on. Or you get a load of sandwiches, weren't very nice. So obviously Ben and Mike bus were absolutely booming. So we pulled up round the corner and off licence at manager, and there were a fish shop. Like anywhere. I suppose there has to be a fish shop in our store, there's not there really. But we pulled up round the corner and John Deasick, manager's given James Knowles £100. Get the lads some beers, Knowlesy. And then obviously got in. And then Stephen Downs, who have you ever heard of him? He played for Grimsby in Football League.
Yes, I have.
He said to Andy Watson, who there's two Andy Watsons, but this is the one who played for Donny in the conference. Sunderland nearly once wanted to sign him, and then deal fell through. Downsy said to him, "Do you want a fish?" I'll have a fish. And then when they've come back, there were a pet shop next door to the fish shop, and obviously had a back actual, just literally a bag seeing through. Yeah. So, but you've got to bear in mind, it's a 6-hour journey home. This maybe 7 hours. So everybody took it in turns to hold this Goldfish on the bus. And I always remember we got back at. Bear in mind, it was probably Farsley's greatest league win, going away to Torquay. I always remember we getting back to 1 o'clock at Fossil Nest, which was name at ground at the time. And Simeon, I was going home with him, and Andy Watson as well. And Simeon had parked his car up at his mate's house half an hour away, because we stayed over, in a hotel on the Friday night. So we had to wait for somebody to take Simeon back to his car. So I was stood in clubhouse. I always remember it in corner with Goldfish. And I always remember Watto looking at him saying, "Oh, I don't think they're going to make it." And then we drove through Leeds. They wanted to have a minor detour. And then we got back to Alton Moor, where Andy Watson lives. And they did survive.
Good.
But
so just to make any viewers aware, no goldfish were harmed in this story.
No.
Good. So
yeah, that's what sort of goes on in the National League level. Is they go on about it being really professional, but that's the kind of stuff that goes on. I think we stayed over at Salisbury. I remember Salisbury. We stayed over at Exeter. We met Steve Perryman at Exeter. Don't remember him?
Tottenham, yeah.
The other funny one with that one, we played Oxford away, which we didn't stay over at. And Jim Smith, do you remember him? Derby County manager.
County, yeah.
I don't know if I've told this one again. This might have been mentioned on camera, where I had a right job getting into that ground. There'd been some cock up with tickets, and then I ended up in boardroom, and I was sat next to Jim Smith, and I'm sure Ross County won Scottish Cup that year, because whoever Scottish team won who won Cup, it were expected to win. And I always remember Jim Smith looking at the TV in this boardroom, because it was really posh as well. We're talking long table, 3-course meal, all that kind of stuff. And I also remember saying, "Oh, do you know your stuff about Scottish football?" That's what he said to me. But then we ended up losing 5-1, and this video, the game, there's clips of the game on YouTube, but not all the controversial bits. So basically, James Knowles got sent off 2 minutes into the second half, 1 minute 3-1. They scored a penalty. Yeah. They tried to get that sending off overturned, but it didn't get overturned. But then we made it. When it was 3-1, Simeon again involved in this story. He got brought down on the edge of the box, and that clip isn't in the YouTube version of it. But the ball got pinged downfield, and Baiji or something, his name, striker, went on the inside. Went on the outside of George Santos and let through Sky. Blatant dive. Bear in mind, he just turned down a blatant penalty at other end for us. And he got penalty, didn't he? Well, they were going Potter. I don't know how George Santos stayed on the field. I thought
he's a great big bloke.
Well, ginormous. So I thought he had him back throat. Anyway, so they've scored it. Then it ended up 5-1. And I always remember, because Oxford United, I'm assuming it's same now, has got a small second tier what seem to act as obviously the directors sort of area. So where John Palmer, who was the chairman, passed away last year, never used to swear, but he said some funny stuff. So you'd be shouting like, "Load of rubbish referee," but they seem to. I always find if you say stuff like "very poor referee," they seem to take more of offence to it than they do if you start effing and blinding them. I once remember a game at Solihull where we won the game and I clapped referee off, slow clapped him and said "very poor ref," and he was trying to get back at me with ref. He got like took into changing rooms.
Have you got a bit of history?
Leave it. No. But all I said is very poor, and the linesman had to pull him in. Well, this was like the tunnel area, but the one at Oxford was shouting down. And bear in mind, it's a massive drop, so it was ludicrous the fact we were even shouting out. So we're shouting very poor and all that. And like I say, you know, I'm not saying he costed the game, but he meant some.
Very poor decision.
Yeah.
Hence you saying to him, very poor.
Well, that was Solihull Moors and that one.
Alright, sorry.
Anyway, but we looked across and there were Jim Smith, bear in mind, a former Premier League manager, and Timmy Mallett just like staring at us.
Timmy Mallett?
Oh, yeah.
And he got like a hammer in his hand.
He didn't have hammer,
right.
But he's a big Oxford United fan.
What would have been good in that story is if you'd have shouted down to like slow clapping him and going very poor, and Timmy Mallett come over and hit you with an air like a inflatable hammer.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Yeah, but I think he is a big Oxford fan, so he ain't entirely daft why he were there.
Does he look? Now this might sound a daft question. Does he look like Timmy Mallett?
Well, I knew
Does he wear daft glasses and silly?
Well, I don't know about. He wasn't wearing a silly hat, but it was 16 years ago with this. But I do find, and I. Particularly that year in the conference, there was a game at Burton Albion which was very controversial in the FA Trophy, and there's a lot of. I remember that Oxford game. They announced attendance, and then they said thanks very much to all the 31 Farsley fans who made the journey. That honestly got said.
31.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, Village Club, the fact they were in the league, it was remarkable, and obviously you can imagine all silly jeers and all that off the back of that. But I always found it bigger crowds, because even that Torquay game we won, there was Torquay should have equalised, and there was an incident where he handled the ball on the halfway line, and he had enough time to autograph it. That's how long he handled it for, and he waved play on, and I just found they were very. It's called like a subconscious bias, isn't it? You know, like with a big crowd, and you can imagine it like 2,000-3,000 people on at you, and you've got 31 on other. You're gonna give a lot in favour of the ones who were on you, aren't you? That's what I sort of think.
I remember when I worked at Wednesdays, we used to go to all games. I forgot his name, manager. They played Wimbledon in a midweek game.
Was it Danny Wilson or later on?
No, Wimbledon manager, and he had an heart attack.
Oh, Joe Kinnear.
Joe Kinnear. He had an heart attack. I'm sure it was that day. You'd have to check that. And it was a midweek game, and I think, if I'm right, I think it was December 7th. It was around my birthday when they played this game. And Wimbledon, in away end, our Jake could have been probably teens at oldest, probably a bit lower than that, and younger than that. And he counted Wimbledon fans in the away end, and there were 49. And that was a Premiership game.
Well, the lowest Premier, obviously bar COVID, the lowest Premier League attendance were it Wimbledon Crystal Palace or something like that.
I remember 49 because our Jake said that's not even a bus full, 52 seater. I mean, there might have been some in other seats, but in the away end that day there were 49 fans, and that was a Premiership game. That.
Yeah, I can believe it. We're not far off, are we?
No. When we've just drove up here, when I've come back, I've never noticed it before. I think it's just right corner here. There's a place called something like the Little Sausage Shop.
Right.
Never seen it before. There.
House Farm.
The Little Sausage Shop. So I call out to the Little Sausage Shop.
Yeah.
All the times I've drove down here, I've never seen it before.
Is there like a fish and chip shop in Oughtibridge, do we?
I don't know.
Oh, we're here, Oughtibridge, says Oughtibridge. So we're doing alright. Azza's still behind us. He's like
still behind us.
Is he shaking on wheel like? Well, is he thinking, oh, I better keep behind Teddy as close as I can?
I've got to throw a left soon into the thing, and he might miss us. He might miss this little turn off here. He might go straight. He might think that we're going back to. I tell you what would be funny if our Theo had left his water bottle at Middlewood, so we're actually going back to Middlewood to pick his water bottle up, and Azza followed me all the way. Yeah,
Is that close to us, Terry? I'm sure he's checking it.
Well,
there's water dripping down him.
First question you asked when you got in the car was, has anybody been in your boot? And as is that close, it could be in my boot.
We check it. Yeah, it's just in this housing estate, isn't it?
See ya.
Yeah.
Oughtibridge
It's not a bad.
War
It's not a bad journey. I thought it would have been further on.
Right.
It's
if you come,
closest,
I think if you come other way and go through towards Stocks Bridge, it's obviously a bit.
Having said that, I
longer.
didn't realise it was a right turn there. I thought you went into housing estate.
No, it's here. It's here. I think I've told this story before as well. Again, Jake could have only been little. I was playing. Well, no, probably managing first time round. And we went for a drink after, put all stuff in boot at the car, and I shut boot, and now Jake's fingers were in boot.
Oh, I've never heard that one.
Oh, honestly, I thought I'd chopped all his fingers off.
Oh, God.
We had to go back into the clubhouse, get some ice, put ice on and take him through the hospital. Honestly, I thought, and you know why, because you shut the boot, honestly.
I bet Maria went balmy, didn't she?
As you shut the boot, I saw his fingers, and as boot was shutting, I tried to grab boot to stop it shutting, but it was shutting. Honestly, we had to go straight back in, get some ice, and take him straight to hospital.
And what did Maria say?
I think she's all right. I can't remember.
Right, well we're here. We'll let you.
Shouted at me.
We'll see you on the journey home.
She always shouts.
Do you ever watch Car Share?
Yeah.
Really, we should have an entrance with the. We should have, you know, like when they're driving to the car park. Shall we say bye to Billy? Have you behaved yourself, Billy, today? Do you think?
Oh me?
Yeah. Pop your head round, get yourself in. Shot.
See, pop your silicone camera. Again.
I'm not quite.
I tell you what you've got, James. I tell you what's happening with him, Billy. He's got a target on his back now.
That's it.
They're all after him.
That's what it is.
There might be some truth in that.
See you back at Main.
See you back at club.
You know, in Car Share, you know when they get to the destination.
Yeah.
Where's in Paul?
Alright. I'm saying I've just. What's something to drink?
Just a black currant, mate, please.
Alright, but I'll see you back there.
Thought he'd be painting town tonight after that. No, you know when they get in Car Share, when they actually arrive.
Yeah.
And he says, Peter Kay always says, oh, he's out of order, him. Because he's like with hose pipe or something, innit?
Oh,
car wash man.
Yeah,
so really, we should arrive at a ground. One of us say, oh, he's getting worse, and then obviously car journey home. How are we going to get round these? I've been trying to think of games where I've seen where we've maybe been 4-1 up, and obviously there's that Newcastle Arsenal game, isn't there? What finished 4-4. Remember when Toyota, he's passed away now, like, but he scored it. They were 4-0 down at half time, weren't they? Yeah. It wasn't quite that. I'm sure
Liverpool were 3-0 down in Champions League when they won.
I remember it's not the same, but I remember a game at it were Gloucester City, but they were playing it. If you remember Gloucester City, their pitch got flooded and they couldn't use ground for 10 years. Right. Water were up to goalposts. He just got condemned. So for 10 years they played at Cirencester, Cheltenham Town, and possibly one more ground. And we played at Cirencester against them in the Conference North, and it was the year when we got deducted 10 points, and it was the first win of the season. But you know, like similar to there, where we've scored a couple of quick fire goals. Yeah. We made it 3-3, and then you might laugh when I say this, but Gloucester made it 3-1. Dodgy penalty. Recurring theme, like dodgy penalty. And I always remember Pars, the manager, actually took off someone but this is the days before sin binnings. It's 2009, and he took someone off because he was going absolutely mental at referee.
So he was scared of getting sent.
Yeah. Anyway, they got it back to 3-3, didn't they? It was like that. It was like that game there, just absolutely attack against defence. And then I know we mentioned him up with here, Simeon Vanbroek, sort of like the perennial hero. He was 40, maybe 41 at the time. He'd come off bench, and then somebody's played, you know, similar to like Steep's goal against Dennerby.
Yeah.
It was very similar to that. Long ball, and Simeon's got through and low finishing to bottom corner. Pandemonium. And then we won again then, and then we wiped out the -10 quite quickly. So what about you? Any games you can think about?
No, not that I can think of top of my head. Probably is.
You've had a lot of. I've seen when I've been looking back at some scores when we've been trying to find a pace record.
Oh, I tell you what.
There's been some 5-4s and that.
Yeah, against.
There's a Sheffield Town maybe.
Sheffield Town. We were 4-0 down against Sheffield Town up on Main. And it was a day when it was absolutely blowing a gale, blowing from Farmers Field to Cricket Field, and we were 4-0 down at half time and won 5-4. and that it was literally whoever were defending the goal kicks, they couldn't get them out of the box. They were taking goal kicks, and it was like going up in air and then blowing out for a corner. I remember that was about 3 years ago.
Only thing that a little bit frustrates me about our games at the minute, I mean, I know we're hanging on a bit, but there just seems to be like never-ending controversy, don't there? Part view, even the return game, because there should have been a couple of red carded.
We don't make things easy, but it's what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. I always like going to Oughtibridge. They're always tough games.
You know, like last season,
games. Like, we go for a drink after, like we used to have there.
But like last season, we didn't really have any like potential viral moments, and now we're going for them like tomorrow. Keeper sin binned. I'm sure I've seen that on Twitter. It's happened definitely in the last couple of years, but it's never happened at a game I've been to.
I've never had it done to or against me.
You know what? One of the most impressive things I've seen with a referee this season, and it was that Jubilee game, ironically, where we got beat 4-0. And because you don't see referees come in changing rooms before. It's like junior football, though, isn't it?
I turned up late, and I remember you saying it.
So he came in and he just said, "Look, I'm big on dissent." So you're thinking, "Oh, here we go. We're going to be in for it's going to be a card fest." And I think it was Ian Jenkins, and he said that he's big on it, and that if a player F's and blinds us to after decision, he accepts that it's in heat at moments, and then if it's still going on 5 minutes later, he'll take action. And I just thought that's one of a brilliant piece of refereeing, and he applied that in the game. I think there was maybe one or two yellows, if that, for fouls. And dissent, I thought he handled it brilliantly. And it'd be good to see more of that. You know, proper man management. I'd probably call it proper man management. I don't know if you would as well.
Yeah, I think particularly now that they'll allow captains to go and approach him, and then use that as, you know.
I mean, I just felt
tell your goalkeeper or tell your so-and-so to wind his neck in, boss, I'll have to sort it out.
I mean, I won't particularly criticise the sin binning of in the game there, because at the end of the day, if he's named it as a centre, it is what it is, and referees have their own ways of management. But I think there's learning curves, and I just think it could have been handled a bit differently, where he said, right, you're out of order, what you've just said there, do it again, we'll be taking action, rather than bang, yellow, you're off.
It's hard, innit, I suppose,
because all you do for me, all that did was create a bit more tension, a bit more confrontation by bunging it out, because players are then getting wound up thinking, oh god, we've lost our keeper for 10 minutes.
I think consistency is a big thing, and if it is dissent and swearing against the line, it's like you just said, it's probably out of frustration. But then you'll hear somebody shout, that's never a throwing liner. So is that not swearing at linesman? I don't know. It is what it is. But game it's sent today for neutral. It was a great game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard
for anybody who weren't associated with either team. They'll probably think that was a proper game of football. That 4-3 or 8 game, everything, goals, penalties, sin bin, everything that you'd want in a game, it were in that game. So
I mean, the referee who's impressed me the most this season, we're meant to have him again next week, and that was Chris Dixon. I just liked how he were a real presence.
Oh, he were at Swinton game, wasn't he?
Yeah, a real presence and managed the game well. There were a few yellow cards in that game, maybe harsh on another day, but I just felt he had complete command at game, and he were constantly talking to the players.
I think what I picked up with Chris reffing, that was that when Scott was there, Scott Legend and Mickey Shaw, he actually looked like he were reffing and enjoying himself.
Yeah.
Not like it's all about me, but like having a laugh with lads.
Because I didn't feel the referee had a smile on his face into like today's game. But maybe that was because of the conditions of the game. I don't know.
I just think it's an hard job, and as I said earlier, every decision they make, or 95% of the decisions they make, either home team's going to contest it or away team's going to contest it, and that's just how it is. But
I think that, you know, moving away from refereeing, it's really positive at the minute, isn't it? Just, you know, you look at the amount of ultras wanting to come to games, and there'd been a few more today if they could have made it.
Apparently we've got some young lads coming now, and what are they called? Nappy ultras or something.
Young ultras or something.
Young ultras in the.
We're gonna have to get some badge, you know, like Blue Peter badges,
so they can be identified.
I'm an ultra, me, you know, like I'm an
proud
ultra.
of it. Proud of it. Yeah, it's good. Everything. I said it the other day. Everything about club at minutes moving in a positive direction, and I mean today we got 4 on bench and with a couple missing. My under 18 lads, they've all just started playing for the colleges. 2, Archie got injured playing for college, but he's come to watch today. Oh no, Archie got injured playing 5-a-side with his older brother.
In Frosty's boots.
That's probably why they kicked him, because they knew he was wearing Frosty's boots.
Oh, they thought it was Danny Frost. And sort boots and thought, well,
Kieran Harris got injured playing for college. Jaden is away today, so 3 lads who've sort of made regular appearances at first team weren't available today.
So I bet you're gutted about next Saturday, are you?
Yeah, and I liked it to be week after against Dodder in Chef Cup, because it's Chef Cup and we've spoke about Chef Cup before. We're not going to win Chef Cup.
Well, if we get through against Dodder, I think it'll be coming up again in conversation, won't it?
Oh, it's next round.
Emily away. Top at
game.
table in Northern Premier League. Clearly a level playing field in that competition.
So
I don't see the point of entering it personally.
You can pay out it, but it'll be a midweeker. It'll be all right. It'll be a good trip out for lads. I haven't been to Emily for years. I used to coach there under 17s. That year they got, I said it before, that year they got to FA Cup 3rd round at West Ham. I had 18s that year.
So what do you tend, obviously we spoke, I think it was this journey, or it might have been the Penistone trip actually. I'm sure we spoke about casualty on the way home from Oughtibridge, didn't we? We were at Penistone and Oughtibridge when we were talking about Charlie's exit.
See, I'm not a casualty
What
fan.
do you tend to watch on a Saturday night?
Tonight, I tell you what I'll be watching tonight. T20. I watched Surrey. I forgot who they're playing. Surrey batted. They got 153. So I watched that when I got in from Theo's. I had something to eat before I cooked at Main, and I watched Surrey batting. So it's 2020 finals day today. So second game will probably finish it next half an hour, and final will be at 6 o'clock. So that's what I'll be watching tonight.
Well, I think I'll be busy editing. I've got all them confessions of a window cleaner to watch at some point. I'll have to do it when my mum and dad are not in the house. Having said that, I'm sure it's been on one of them talk TV programmes, one of them films. It's amazing.
Ben Knox is trying to fly past me and he can't get in. Shall I let him in?
Shall we wave at him?
Oh,
in him.
Yeah, he's been following.
He just wondered why I waved there. Ben'd go a different way, wouldn't he?
I don't know, from here he might go down, I might go down, he might get on M1 there, yeah.
Well, that were a bit silly on our part, wasn't it?
Well, he didn't want me waved, I just thought it was him, James, it was you.
Well, it was quite a comedy wave as well.
Like, you look like Queen.
I did quite a comedy wave.
Like a royal wave.
It's good, at least I didn't stick finger up at him or something, that would have been a bit disastrous.
I might overtake this kid now and just pull up at side of him, see if he gives it rods or see if he says out to you.
Well, do you remember the last episode of Car Share where she got out and what, a hedgehog or something?
I remember Monkey
and
one.
it caused the crash. No, it caused the crash though, didn't it, between things? And then he went to open his door, and a lorry came past and took the door out,
yeah,
and had to catch bus home.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what I liked as well about Car Share? Up music that they had. I think it.
They played some great.
It blended in.
What 80s? What a lot of 80s stuff.
There's one song I don't know. Is it? No, it's not Everybody's Hurts. That's REM. But there's a song by. Oh yeah, we're in my head there. Is it Free Cafe? Everybody, something everybody.
I tell you who she reminded me of, particularly one when she got in car and she looked drunk. Now I'm not saying this woman looked drunk all the time, but she reminded me of Carol Decker.
Right.
What lead singer added to Pow, China in Your Hands.
Oh.
So have a look at that.
Other one with Car Share was, you know, obviously they didn't just have the camera in the car, they'd have it outside. And the woman across the road always used to open windows and he used to wave at her. Then he Peter Kay and she just stared at him.
What did Car Share where were at traffic lights and that bloke was just leaning on car. Well, that car share.
Could have possibly. There's the one where Reece Shearsmith's in the back and he's a fishmonger, and then they didn't take him home, did they?
Is that one where he starts singing?
He chased after him.
Is it that one's funniest one when he's in back and he's singing? Go on, get that. Oh, what's it called? Gangster song. A murderer. I'm a typical dancer. Murderer. Don't love me like that. Murderer. And he's like got his head.
And they had
that's my favourite.
They had Elsie in the back, didn't they?
Yeah.
And there's one where, and it's the actor off Peter Kay, Phoenix Nights, who gets up and says he's Kenny Dalglish in court. It's him at the bus stop when she says to Peter Kay, "Oh, I'm going dogging tonight," and she'll mean in dog walking. And then she winds window down. "Excuse me, do you go dogging?" And he went, "Is it a trick question?" And he went, and he leaned in and went, "Aye, there's a good spot there." And then she went, "Drive!" And then set off when she realised.
She was his mate from college, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was working in a call centre, wasn't she? And got a phone call saying this bit for you. But you know that Peter Kay one where he did that Geraldine Granger when he did that Pop Idol spoof thing?
Yeah.
She was in one of the, you know, they had some wheelchair dance singers.
Yeah, they did.
She was one of them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But she's gone on to she's won quite a few awards now. She's gone on to do some quite good stuff.
She was good in cars,
there was something with, I'm quite a big fan of Catherine Tate, and she did something with her on that Gold channel. The reason I've watched a lot of comedy stuff is because I used to watch Gold a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because UK Gold was plastered, well it still is, but literally plastered with comedies. And when Britain's Best Sitcom, if you remember, they did that programme on BBC Two where they did the top 50 and then they did a top 10. I taped a lot of that on VHS. I've still got loads of VHSs at home.
And who won it? What were voted best?
Only Fools.
Yeah.
Top 10 were Only Fools, Blackadder was second, Vicar of Dibley were fourth, Dad's Army were fifth. There were also Good Life, I think finished seventh. Another one I'm a fan of, and I've watched all episodes a few times. Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister.
See, I never. No, I've seen it, but I can't.
That's in the top 10. I can't think what else was in. Open All Hours, I think finished 8th. Vaulted Towers were 5th. And then I can't think what 9th and 10th were. It obviously, I think they did have like some other ITV ones in, but mainly it were BBC. I can't think what were 9 and 10. So Porridge was in there. I started, when they started bringing them out on DVD, I started collecting them around initially those first top 10. But then you find, but now certainly with all lockdown, you like discover other ones, don't you? And I sort of sometimes pick an actor and watch a few bits of theirs. So what was the other one I watched off the back of? I watched a lot of Penelope Keith stuff like Law and Disorder, which was one series for ITV in 1990s.
Never watched that.
Have you heard of it though?
Never heard of it.
Executive Stress, have you ever watched that?
No.
Yeah, that was quite good.
I think it's comedies.
Yeah, but ITV that. And I'll tell you what I bought in lockdown, but I didn't realise every episode was an hour long. But I watched them pretty quickly because I think it was maybe the first month at lockdown list. But I bought it on iTunes because I'd stopped buying DVDs and started on iTunes, but then I thought to myself, what happens if something happens at iTunes account? So I started buying DVDs again. You Rang Me Lord. But I didn't realise that.
What in that?
Him off IDI, Paul.
Oh yeah, Paul Shane.
That's it. That is actually quite good, but the only thing I'd say is I think what's good about that is it's good. There's a story thread right through. Is that Azza?
No. Azza's got a private plane, 44 TTE.
But I've never watched Heidi High. But there's a lot of them in there as well.
Heidi High's that they do the same thing by the same producers where they do. You've been watching
Jimmy Perry and David Croft.
Yeah.
They did. Well, I don't think both of them did You Rang Me Lord. I think there was another writer called Jeremy who did a bit with one of them, possibly David Croft. Because there's the actors who were in IDI and also You Rang Me Lord, like Sue Pollard?
Sue Pollard.
They did a Dr. Beeching one, didn't they, about a railway? That was 95, Dr. Beeching. You know him who closed up railways in the 60s? You know, there were loads of railways everywhere, weren't there?
Yeah.
The government closed loads in the 60s.
It was Dr. Beach.
Dr. Beeching, yeah. So if you watch Michael Portillo's Great Train Journeys, I'm sure he gets mentioned.
Right. Only time I ever see that is if I'm watching Salvage Hunter, and I've recorded Salvage Hunter. It's usually on before, so like last 5 minutes or what. So that's the only time I've ever seen that.
I got talking to Mark Smythe about coastal erosions this morning. He was telling me about some people getting kicked out of their houses, council. They said you're going to have to go in 8 months, it's not safe.
Oh, finally. Well, when he did that, you looked at it, and if he's right, and I'm not suggesting he's telling any porkies, if you look at how much has gone in the last 12 months, and it erodes at the same rate, you would say, well, that house ain't going to last 12 months. So, and it's a shame because it's got a beautiful
Some people
view.
have lived there for 40 years.
It's got a beautiful view, and it's smack up, well, sea view.
So we're heading into Maine now because we're here. It's is it like a part of the atmosphere in there with Richard Wilkinson?
Why is it something?
Well, he's had a guard of honour, hasn't he?
What for?
Last game.
Is it?
Yeah, or didn't you know?
No, I didn't know it.
He's a true stalwart at club, and I think they're finished. Doesn't seem to be any cricket going on, does there?
Might be tea.
Having said that, there's somebody up banking up there.
Probably tea in it because well, I don't know.
What time is it? 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
But overall, we've had a good day, haven't we?
3 points. Good day.